Alright, today I have the pleasure of reviewing the SE Electronics 6160. It is a shotgun microphone, so I will be putting it up against the other two shotgun microphones that I own, the AT875R and the Sennheiser 416. So let's see how this mic stacks up, shall we? I do want to say a huge thank you to SE Electronics for sending this microphone over to me to review for free. I do get to keep this microphone after the review at no cost to me. However, this doesn't sway my review in any way, shape, or form. They don't get to tell me what to say. They don't get to see the video before I post it. None of that good stuff. I'm not being coerced into saying anything and making you guys make bad decisions because a company has paid me and bribed me and blackmailed me. Nothing like that. Unless that's something you want to believe. And right off the bat, I do want to say, no, I'm not back. I'm not back on YouTube. When SE Electronics reaches out to you and says, do you want to review one of our microphones? You say, yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. And so here we are. But no, I have no intentions of coming back. I have no intentions of reviving my channel. If some crazy things happened, maybe. But at this moment in my life, that's just not where my goals align. That's just not what I'm looking to do. So for those of you who love me and love my content and all that stuff, I'm sorry. I'm not coming back right now. For those of you who hate me and can't stand my reviews and can't stand my face and can't stand my thoughts and can't stand the words that I say, I'm not coming back. So good on ya. All right, so let's get right into it. What are the specs of this microphone? This is a handcrafted small diaphragm true condenser capsule. It has a supercardioid or lobar polar pattern. Its frequency range is 20 to 20,000 hertz. Yes, for all of you that's been pointing out to me in my tutorials and in my other videos when I say kilohertz when I'm supposed to say hertz, it's just something that happens. I know better, but I still say it anyway and don't even catch it when I do say it. So for all of you helpy helpertons in the comments letting me know, thanks so much. I'll take that into consideration. It has a max SPL of 137, 147, and 157. This is due to its attenuation pad, one at 0, one at 10, and then one at 20. It has an equivalent noise level of 13 dBA. It has a dynamic range of 124, 134, and 144, also due to the attenuation pad, as I mentioned earlier. It has a low-cut filter at 80 Hz and 160 Hz. It does indeed require 48 volts phantom power. And for those of you who care, it weighs 110 grams, or 3.88 ounces. All right, and now let's mess with the high-pass filters and see if you can really hear a difference. You probably really won't hear a difference at 80, but when we get to 160, you're probably going to be able to hear the bass reduced. Sorry about all the pet hair. It's just, it's the life of, having pets. Glad I could put that one together for you. All right, so this is what the microphone sounds like with absolutely no high-pass filter put on it. It's what you've been hearing this entire time so far. Now I'm going to switch to the 80 Hz high-pass filter and see if you can hear a difference. All right, so now the 80 Hz high-pass filter is turned on. Most likely, unless you're hearing this audio in really awesome high-end headphones or some really nice studio monitors and, in a really treated space or something like that, then maybe you could hear this difference. You'd have to have a trained ear for sure, but it's going to be very subtle. But again, it's great for cleaning up just a bunch of low-end rumble or just low-end garbage that our voices don't even really create anyway, so there's no harm in getting rid of it. But now I'm going to go from the 80 to the 160, which you're likely going to be able to hear a difference. You're going to hear a drop in the bass. It'll just sound like we've lost all the bottom end. All right, and this is what the microphone sounds like with the 160 hertz low-cut filter on the microphone. Like I said, you're likely going to be able to tell the difference here, whereas you might not have really been able to tell the difference before at the 80. Make sure you're wearing some good headphones or listening on some good studio monitors. As always, for any of my mic reviews, that's kind of essential. So now I'm just going to put it back with no low pass on it. Wait. With no high pass on it. I hate how they named that. Even though I know it still gets me and it's so annoying. Anyway. All right, and now we can test the attenuation pads that are built into this microphone. One is at 10, one is at 20. All this is it can be helpful, but I would say it's more helpful for musicians and just people that are out in the field recording audio for maybe a movie or like sound design or things like that. It's not too incredibly helpful for a voice actor or a content creator, because in order for this to really be helpful for especially a voice actor, you would need to have it on a foot switch or a button in front of you, like on your interface or something, so you could hit it really fast. You know, I mean, you can sit here and do what I'm doing and switch it, but then you have to reset and get back into what you were doing. Whereas with an audio interface with attenuation pads, you can just have your finger on the button as you're speaking. And then when you go to yell or get to a louder part in your script, you just press that button and you can start yelling. And then you won't clip your audio because you've engaged the attenuation pad, whether it's -10 or -20 dB, whatever the script requires at the time, you know, how loud are you yelling? Yeah, so if you're like holding down a button or you have a foot switch that you've routed, then that would be really useful. This, however, on the other hand, it's a nice feature to have built into the microphone, but you just can't do it really fast if you're a voice actor. But let's hear what those sound like, okay? First, I'm going to do the 10. All right, and now we have the 10 dB attenuation pad engaged on this SE Electronics shotgun microphone, and you know, it's just dropped the audio by 10 dB. That's all it's done. So don't drastically turn up your speakers when I get done with the next one, because I'm going to go right back into its regular without an attenuation pad volume, and I don't want to blow you out of the water. So anyway, I'm going to go now to the 20. All right, now we have the 20 dB attenuation pad engaged on this SE Electronics 6160, and this is what that sounds like. Again, I know you've probably turned up your volume dramatically right now just to hear what I'm saying, but I just wanted to give you this idea of how much is dropping the volume in case you care. Now, I'm going to put a counter back on the screen or something like that to let you know that I'm about to go back to the regular volume, so beware. You've been warned. You've been warned. You've been warned. You've been warned. All right, as usual, just to cleanse the palette a little bit, here's some camera audio so that you can hear how bad audio can truly sound, and then we're going to switch right into the comparisons between the SE6160 and the Audio Technica AT875R, as well as the 416. So here we go. All right, so as always, here in this blind A/B test, I would like for you to let me know in the comments if you can tell which microphone is the SE Electronics 6160 and which microphone is the Audio Technica AT875R. Okay, so I like to do the blind A/B test because this way you can't have any biased opinions, right? Because some people will see a microphone and immediately just be like, oh, that one sounds better. I know it sounds weird, but it really does happen. So anyway, we have these two microphones here, and I can tell you one huge difference, most likely, and I can't say this for 100% fact right now because the price hasn't completely been talked about or released for the SE Electronics microphone, but I know the AT875R is like $170 to $190, incredibly affordable, and the fact that it is that price point and it sounds as good as it does, and it sounds amazing. If you haven't watched my review, you should go watch it. It is a fantastic microphone, okay? So kudos to Audio Technica for making this beast of a microphone and making it so affordable for us creators out here. I mean, that is unbelievable. And then you have SE Electronics, one of the greatest companies going by far, and they have some amazing microphones. And to their credit, they have the SE Electronics X1A, which is my current favorite microphone. It's only $100 and it sounds amazing. So thank you, SE Electronics, for making that microphone affordable for all of us creators. I mean, that microphone, like I said, is my favorite microphone right now. My old favorite microphone was the Rode NT1, but that microphone's like, oh man, I can't remember what it is at the time. Maybe it's 170, maybe it's 270. 250. Anyway, either way, the SE Electronics X1A is much more affordable and sounds almost identical. I mean, there's very little difference between those microphones, and like I said, it's $100. You can't beat that. So anyway, let me know in the comments below if you were able to pick which microphone was which in the blind A/B test. All right, so just like before, tell me if you can tell in this blind A/B test which microphone is the SE Electronics 6160 and which microphone is the Sennheiser 416. If you know anything about voiceover, you'll know that the Sennheiser 416 is one of the most predominantly used microphones in voiceover. It's $1,000, so it carries quite a price tag, but it really cuts through a mix, and so that's why a lot of audio engineers really like to use it, especially for promo work and things like that. So, you know, it's got a bit of a high mid boost to it, if that gives you a little hint as to which microphone is which. But with the SE Electronics 6160, to my ears, it sounds a little bit more like a flat response microphone compared to these two microphones that I've just been putting it up against. It sounds a little more flat than the other two. Doesn't seem like there's any kind of crazy boosts or anything like that going on with it, which I actually think is a huge plus. I like that personally. That's kind of my thing. I always look for a flat response mic microphone, or as flat as I can possibly get. You're never going to get a perfectly flat response microphone. That's almost impossible, but that is more so what I look at. So let me know in the comments below if you were able to pick which microphone was which out of these two microphones, and also which microphone did you prefer? Did you like one over the other, and why? All right, so what were my overall thoughts between the microphones and the comparisons? Well, first things first, let me just say this can be highly subjective, right? Because everyone's ears are different. Now, I will say one baseline that we like to set to make sure things aren't too subjective is having proper ear training and training your ears for years and years and years and years. Look, those people who have trained their ears for years and been doing this daily for a long time, they're going to hear things different than the person that's just a hobbyist on YouTube writing stuff in the comments telling you how wrong you are. You know, those people haven't studied audio, and they don't probably have ear training, and they probably don't have much if they even do, and they're probably not working with audio every single day, much like professionals and things like that. So, you know, you do have to set a standard at some point, or else you're just in the weeds for the rest of your life, and there's no one thing that can be like, well, that's something we can hold on to. It's just all subjective. So I will say that, and then also what you're listening on matters a lot, and knowing how the thing that you're listening on sounds, the EQ print of it, that also matters a lot. So make sure you listen on good headphones and good speakers, good monitors if you were listening to the microphone reviews. But to my ears, I did hear a bit more bottom end in the Audio Technica AT875R. I did hear just a little bit more bottom to it. And I also thought that the AT875R was a tiny bit, just slightly more sibilant. And the thing about it is once I upload these to YouTube, it could change the audio slightly, you know, and then maybe I'll hear it different in the video. But that's what I heard during my tests. But again, the sibilance thing was so slight. The bass was more prominent that I could hear the difference between them. Now, does that mean that the AT875R is better than the SE Electronics 6160? No, it doesn't mean it's better. It's just, what are you looking for? Now, I will say, and this is kind of a hard thing to beat for really any microphone company, the Audio Technica AT875R is like $170 or $190, something like that. And that's a really hard bargain to beat. I mean, that microphone sounds so amazing. At that cost point, it's going to be really hard to compete with that because it's just so affordable. You can buy quite a few of these. I don't want to speak to how expensive the SE Electronics mic is yet because I don't know if they've quite ironed out exactly how much it's going to be. Even still, the AT875R is just incredibly affordable, and it sounds so freaking good. Now, again, to my ears, the 416 sounded like it had more bottom end to it than the 6160 did. The other thing I would say is the sibilance of both microphones sounded very similar, but I will say the Sennheiser 416 is known for having that high mid boost, you know? It's just one of those things that makes that mic cut through a mix, and that's why so many people in voiceover love using that mic. That's why so many studios and audio engineers choose that microphone, especially for like promo work and things like that. It just cuts through a mix like butter. Butter, I guess, doesn't cut through a mix. I don't know. Is that the right way to say it? Either way, it just cuts right through a mix, man. You know, I've had some people in the comments that are like, the 416 isn't harsh, and I can't understand. I just want to be like, did you destroy your high end when you were really young? Did you like stand next to amplifiers that are just full blast destroying you, or just did you wear headphones and crank the volume up as high as you can? Because anyone who's a professional in the industry knows that that 416 is just a harsher sounding microphone. And when I say harsh, I'm not saying that like a knock to that microphone. It just has more high end to it than a lot of microphones, okay? That's the appeal of that microphone. And any audio engineer in the freaking world that's worth their weight will tell you that's why you choose the 416. It cuts through. It's got that high mid boost that just cuts through. That's just the way it is. There's no way around it. So if you're going to comment below and say,
the 416's not harsh,
just don't. Just don't. Now, with all of that said, to my ear, it sounds like the SC6160 is just kind of a more flat response microphone. It may not be a flat response microphone, but compared to the two mics that we put it up against, it sounds more like a flat response microphone. So that is actually a pro to me. That's a big pro to me. I mean, you know, when I'm looking at microphones for voiceover and things like that, I really am looking for a flat response microphone because you're not coloring anything. You don't have to worry about, oh no, or is my sibilance going to be enhanced with this microphone? Or, you know, like, is Is the bass going to be outrageous in my audio? Is it going to pick up way too much low end? Is there going to be a crazy like mid boost or something like that that's going to cause my audio to sound a little bit more boxy? Like if you get a flat response microphone, you can be sure that if you properly acoustically treat your space, you're going to hear how you sound pretty much. You're not going to be going, oh, is that really how I sound? That harsh? Is my sibilance that bad? Do I have that much muddiness in my audio? Like it just takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. So for that mere fact, who do I recommend this microphone for? Well, I mean, with all that said, I definitely recommend this microphone for voice actors and content creators, right? Because it's more of a flat response sounding microphone compared to the other two, okay? And like, of course, the 416 is used in voiceover all the time, but look, this is just my opinion. Okay, we're getting into the opinion territory here. Okay, so don't fire me in the comments because you're like,
that's not my opinion and you have to have my opinion because both political parties these days say you have to have my opinion because if you don't, then I don't like you, even though we're all about tolerance.
Super weird. Anyway, I think as a voice actor, especially if you're just getting into voiceover, you need to start with more of a flat response microphone, okay? Don't go crazy. First off, don't go crazy and buy an expensive microphone. You don't need to do that. You just need to properly acoustically treat your space. Then that $170, the Audio Technica, like the $170 microphone is going to sound like a $1,000 microphone. It's just the way that goes. Or the $100 X1A, which is my favorite microphone still right now for voiceover, the $100 SC Electronics X1A in a properly treated space, it's going to sound like a $500 to $1,000 microphone. That's just how audio works. It's the space you're recording in that's the biggest deal. So anyway, with all that said, yeah, I recommend this microphone for voice actors and content creators. It sounds great. It's a great sounding microphone. There's no overly hyped frequencies, no crazy stuff like that. And you get some extra bells and whistles with it as well. Again, I can't speak to the price just yet. We're going to find out as it comes out. Hopefully it's going to be somewhat affordable. That would be nice. So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this review. SE Electronics, thank you so much for always thinking of me and sending me this microphone to review. Your company is outstanding. It's fantastic. SE Electronics is just, it's just one of the best companies going. There's nothing else I can say about that. Anyway, to all of you who leave me really nice comments and say really nice things and love my content and get a lot out of my content, even if I haven't responded to a comment of yours yet and you've left me one, let me just go ahead and say thank you. I'm very busy in my life currently. I've got a lot going on, but trust me, I see the comments and it means a lot to me, but I just want to say a big thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And, maybe I'll come back one day. I don't know. Maybe things will change. Maybe my mind will change. Maybe something in my life will change. Maybe another company or maybe SE Electronics will send me another microphone. It all depends on, what's going on in my life and all that good stuff. But until then, I just think the most important thing that you can take away from this video is the fact that, well, you know what they say. I don't know.